Are you a developer who relies on popular JavaScript libraries like jQuery? Well, listen up, because your code might be harboring a dangerous secret. Trojanized jQuery packages have been discovered lurking in major code repositories, putting countless websites and applications at risk. If you recently pulled jQuery from npm, GitHub, or JSDeliver, your project could be compromised without you even knowing it. In this video, we will discuss a sinister campaign targeting one of the web's most widely used JavaScript libraries. Stick around to the end to learn more. On May 26, 2024, Phylum began monitoring a persisting supply chain attack involving a Trojanized version of jQuery. The discovery was initially made on npm, where the compromised jQuery package was found embedded with dozens of published packages over the course of a month. As the investigation unfolded, instances of Trojanized jQuery were also detected on GitHub and even hosted as a CDN resource on JSDeliver. This complex and multifaceted attack has raised serious concerns about the security of widely used open-source repositories and the potential impact on web development and user data security. Let's break down how this attack unfolded, starting with npm. The Phylum team first spotted the malicious jQuery variant here, witnessing it pop up in dozens of packages over the course of a month. But our digital villains didn't stop there. They took their show on the road, planting their Trojanized jQuery on GitHub and even sneaking it into JSDeliver as a CDN-hosted resource. Now, what makes this attack stand out is its chameleon-like nature. Unlike most large-scale attacks that follow a clear, well-defined pattern, this one is all about variety. At first glance, they seem relatively minimal, nothing to raise suspicion. But the crazy part is that each one includes at least one complete copy of jQuery. Sometimes, it's named jQuery.men.js, just like the real deal. Other times, it goes by aliases, like registration.men.js, icon.men.js, or even fontawesome.js. But the creativity doesn't stop there. The exfiltration URLs, the addresses where the stolen data is sent, are almost unique for each package. And just when you think you've got them figured out, they switch it up again. The attacker published to npm under new usernames for each package. Sometimes, a single user will publish multiple, usually related packages. It's a constantly shifting landscape designed to keep defenders on their toes. In an odd twist, almost every package also contained personal files that were not typically included in npm publications. We're talking about the npm cache folder, npm logs folder, and even a termux.properties file. This level of variability and the long time frame over which these packages were published suggests something crucial. Each package was likely manually assembled and published. This is a crafted, almost artisanal approach to malware distribution. But how does this Trojanized jQuery actually work? Remember, jQuery is a fast, small, and feature-rich JavaScript library. It's designed to simplify things like HTML document traversing and manipulation, event handling, animating, and AJAX. It's the Swiss Army knife of web development, which is why it's used by over 77% of the top 10 million websites. The attackers took this trusted tool and made one small but significant modification. They zeroed in on the end function, a part of the jQuery prototype. In the legitimate jQuery, this function is simple. It's supposed to end the most recent filtering operation in the current chain and return the set of matched elements to its previous state. In coding terms, it just returns the previous object. But in the hands of our digital ne'er-do-wells, this innocent function became a Trojan horse. Let's take a look at the malicious code they injected. What you're looking at is a seemingly innocuous piece of code that's actually a ticking time bomb. Instead of simply returning the previous object, this modified end function is doing something far more sinister. It's making an asynchronous AJAX request to a remote URL, but not just any URL. It's sending data to a domain that looks suspiciously like an anti-spam service. The attackers use a domain name that implies security to carry out their malicious activities. The function is grabbing all the form data on the page using form.serialize. This means any information a user has entered into a form, be it login credentials, credit card details, or personal information, is being captured. Then, to add insult to injury, it's encoding this data into a hexadecimal string. It's a clever way to obfuscate the data, making it harder for security measures to detect that sensitive information is being transmitted. You might be thinking, okay, but how often does this end function actually get called? And that's where the true genius of this attack lies. While the end function isn't commonly used directly by developers, it's called internally by another, much more popular jQuery method, fade2. The fade2 method is part of the jQuery's animation toolkit. It's used to fade an element to a specified opacity, creating smooth visual transitions on web pages. It's the kind of function that's used all the time in modern dynamic websites, and every time it's called, it's potentially leaking your user's data. The attackers have essentially created a Trojan horse within a Trojan horse. They've not only compromised a widely trusted library, but also hidden their malicious payload inside a rarely used function that's called by a commonly used one. That's what makes these attackers pure geniuses. But the plot thickens. This attack has spread its tentacles across multiple platforms. On GitHub, the Phylum team made another startling discovery. They found a user called IndexSC hosting several versions of the Trojanized jQuery file. This GitHub repository also contained other suspicious JavaScript files. These files included scripts that would add new script tags from remote sources to the web page. One of these scripts is particularly devious. It generates a fake warning telling users that their versions of Iron Icons, a popular icon library, is deprecated. It then helpfully offers to update it to a version from 2020. This is a classic bait and switch tactic, using a false security warning to trick users into running outdated, potentially vulnerable code. After this fall update, the script adds a new script element to the document's body. And guess where the script points to? That's right, back to a CDN-hosted version of the Trojanized jQuery. This brings us to the third prong of this attack, JSDeliver. For those who might not know, JSDeliver is a free open-source CDN that helps developers quickly and easily load packages into their projects. It's a popular choice because it automatically pulls the latest versions of packages from NPM and GitHub. The attackers exploited this feature beautifully. By hosting their malicious code on GitHub, they ensured it would be available through JSDeliver as well. This means that even developers who thought they were safe by using a reputable CDN could fall victim to this attack. A vulnerability in one place can quickly spread to many others, like a virus jumping from host to host. What we're dealing with here is not just another run-of-the-mill malware campaign. This is a sophisticated, multi-pronged supply chain attack that targets the very foundations of modern web development. The sheer number of packages involved, over 60 at last count, and the variability in their naming conventions and contents suggest a level of manual curation that's unusual in attacks of this scale. It's as if each package was carefully crafted to blend in with legitimate libraries, making detection that much harder. But why go to all this trouble? While we can't know for certain without catching the perpetrators, we can make some educated guesses based on the nature of the attack. The primary goal seems to be data exploitation. By capturing form data, the attackers could potentially harvest login credentials, financial information, and other sensitive personal data from unsuspecting users. This information could be used for identity theft, financial fraud, or even sold on the dark web to other malicious actors. But there is potentially an even more insidious aspect to this attack. By compromising widely used libraries and hosting platforms, the attackers have potentially gained a foothold in countless web applications. This could serve as a launchpad for future, more targeted attacks. So, what can we do to protect ourselves and our users from this threat? For those using CDNs like JSDeliver, consider hosting critical libraries like jQuery on your own servers. Yes, it might mean a bit more work and potentially slower load times, but it gives you full control over the code you are serving to your users. If you must use externally hosted libraries, always use sub-resource integrity checks. This involves specifying a cryptographic hash alongside your script tags, which the browser can use to verify that the resource hasn't been tampered with. Here's an example of what that might look like. This extra step can go a long way in ensuring you're loading the code you expect. Is your web project safe from Trojanized packages? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.